Awaken at 3 a.m. The shocking truth about healing from heaven. Don't miss this epic experience. The clock struck 3, and the world outside was wrapped in a heavy blanket of moonlight. The stillness was eerie, almost palpable. In that silence something shifted. Mary sat upright in bed, her heart racing like a drum in her chest. She heard the whispers, soft as a summer breeze but sharp enough to pierce through her dreams. Shadows danced on the walls, flickering like forgotten memories begging to be remembered. Could it be? Was the folklore true? They say that healing spirits awaken at this hour, that the veil between worlds thins. She rose, trembling hands reaching for the cold metal bedpost for support. Night swirled with unfathomable mysteries, air thick with anticipation. The wind whistled a haunting melody outside her window, leaving her to wonder. Was it more than just the wind? Craning her neck, she glimpsed the garden cursed by silence. Musty, rich earth kissed by a silver glow, where something unnatural lurked beneath. Closer to the edge of the woods, an unmistakable luminescence flickered, defying what was possible, tempting her with secrets untold. Breath caught in her throat, she felt a magnetic pull. Strange occurrences thrived in this neighborhood, lights flickering. Neighbors suddenly healed from ailments thought unhealable. Was it coincidental? Or were they drawn into a web of the supernatural? Mary remembered reports of shadows darting through her backyard, shimmering specters that soared just out of sight. What did it mean? What thread connected them all? Every night, dreams intertwined with reality, and she felt the weight of both pressing against her mind. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Mary stepped cautiously outside, the cool grass a shocking contrast to the warmth of her home. Her heart raced, fear and excitement tangling in a tight knot. An unexplainable glow illuminated the trees, swirling like misty tendrils reaching for her soul. Was she being summoned? Was there a truth she was destined to uncover at this ungodly hour? She heard of others who had followed the light. They claimed to have received visions, miraculous insights. But at what cost? Could some doors once opened ever truly close again? As she approached the gleam, the night trembled with unspoken energy, urging her to take one step closer. But in that moment the silence shattered. A clear voice called out from the shadows, "Mary, it's time to awaken." Her blood ran cold. Who was it? And what awaited her in the darkness? The trees whispered her name, and the night held its breath in anticipation. What secrets might she unveil, and would she ever be the same again? Mary's breath hitched in her throat as she discerned the source of the voice. A figure emerged from the shadows, draped in a billowing cloak that shimmered like the night sky. It stepped forward, a silhouette against the gauzy light, features obscured but energy palpable. She could feel it tingling against her skin, an electric rush that threatened to overwhelm her senses. "Who are you?" she stammered, feet rooted to the cool turf beneath her, unable to move. The air grew dense, almost heavy with expectancy, suffocating and thrilling all at once. The figure's voice was smooth yet firm. "I am a keeper of the secrets, the one who guides those brave enough to seek the truth." There was something mesmerizing about it, compelling her to lean in, despite the trepidation gnawing at her insides. What truth? She felt the energy beckon her closer, pulling her toward the unknown, away from the safety of home. "The truth of your healing," it replied. "Not just for yourself but for others too. You have a light within you that needs to be awakened." The figure's hand extended, palm up, revealing a flickering orb of light that danced with colors she had never viewed before. It pulsated like a heartbeat, inviting yet foreboding. Mary's heart hammered in sync with the glow. Somehow she knew that this was more than a dream, more than a mere ghost from folklore. This was real, and more importantly, it was asking her to step into a power she never knew lay dormant inside. "Why me?" she managed to ask, her voice barely a whisper in the gripping stillness. "What do you want?" "Only to show you what you are truly capable of." But this journey requires sacrifice. You must be willing to leave the past behind. Shadows flickered around Mary, taunting her. They tugged at her mind, whispering of unresolved fears, lost ambitions, regrets buried in the recess of time. What do you mean? She pressed, but doubt began to swirl in her thoughts. What if I can't let go? The figure's expression shifted, the shadows twisting around it like a cloak of memories. You must choose. Courage or comfort? Clarity or chaos? There was that haunting finality in their tone. Each word felt like a challenge echoing in the dead of night. Mary's chest tightened as she contemplated her fears, the fear of confronting the hidden parts of herself, the fear of losing familiarity. What lay beyond this moment? What would she have to sacrifice? The orb of light shimmered brighter, drowning out the darkness around her. Her instincts screamed to retreat, yet curiosity pushed her forward. She felt her heart draw closer to the luminous sphere, the warmth radiating through her body, illuminating the shadows nestled deep within. All right, she breathed, a profusion of determination coursing through her veins. I'll do it. Show me. At that moment the world shifted. The trees grew silent, the night thickened, and the air crackled with anticipation. The keeper smiled, revealing eyes that sparkled like stars. Very well. But be warned, some truths may unveil memories you wish stayed locked away. This was merely the beginning. The road ahead was littered with both wonder and peril. Just as Mary's world began to spin with energy, a shriek pierced the quiet of the night, sending shards of panic tumbling through her. The shadows thrummed with urgency, and the light dimmed momentarily. Run, the keeper urged, panic rippling in its voice. Something is coming. Look to the woods, do not let it claim you. And like lightning flashing through her veins, Mary knew she had only moments before everything changed again. What would emerge from the darkness? And could she withstand what awaited her in the shadows? The command was clear. Fear became a tangible force as Mary turned on her heel, her heart pounding against her ribs like a caged bird desperate to break free. The shadows writhed around her like living things, reaching out with icy fingers. Don't look back. The keeper's voice cut through the chaos, dispersing her doubts with a jolt of urgency. She blinked, her breath coming in shallow gasps. The woods loomed ahead, a dark labyrinth filled with secrets, each tree a sentinel watching her approach. She bolted, sprinting deeper into the dense underbrush, the cold night air burning her lungs. Leaves crunched beneath her feet, echoing like gunfire in the stillness. Panic clawed at her mind, but the sensation of power coursing from the orb mingled with it, a rush of strength swelling in her veins, urging her to press on. Behind her, something rustled, a low growl that slithered through the night. Dread knotted her stomach. It was gaining on her, whatever it was. She had to keep moving. A flash of light broke through the trees, illuminating the path ahead. Mary skidded to a halt, her eyes wide. A clearing opened before her, bathed in an ethereal glow. The air buzzed with energy, thick and electric. She hesitated, torn between the unknown intensity of this place and the uncertainty stalking her from the shadows. Trust yourself. The keeper's voice echoed in her mind, like an anchor in the storm. She stepped into the clearing, the shadows retreating momentarily like waves pulled back from the shore. In the middle of the light lay an ancient stone altar, covered in swirling runes that glowed faintly, pulsing with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. Within the heart of the altar, a deeper glow beckoned, a portal of shimmering colors, swirling like a galaxy caught in a vortex. But visions of what lay behind her, of whatever nightmare was closing in, pressed at her senses. The growl morphed into a haunting chorus, a cacophony of voices echoing from the woods. This is your moment. The keeper roared from the recesses of her mind. Channel your strength. Mary's heartbeat synchronized with the altar, each pulse igniting the air with warmth, tinged with the scent of something sweet and ancient. She stepped closer, adrenaline reigning in her fear, and reached out for the glowing energy that danced above it. Suddenly, a chilling howl sliced through the clearing, reverberating off the trees. Goosebumps spread across her skin. The shadows writhed back into view, a mass of darkness moving like a tidal wave, hungry and relentless. Now, Mary! The keeper's urgency bled through her. With one swift motion, Mary seized the orb of light from her heart and thrust it toward the altar. The light exploded forth, filling the clearing, illuminating every dark corner. The shadows screeched in fury, recoiling under the radiant glow. She felt the warmth wrap around her, shielding her from the encroaching darkness. But just as victory lingered on the cusp of her fingertips, the darkness surged back, an unstoppable force bending the light. A familiar face slipped into her mind amidst the chaos, a face she had buried deep in regret. No! The scream ripped from her throat, an anguished cry. Memories fragile and sweet tugged at her heart. What lies beyond that portal? She thought, grappling with the urge to unleash the orb's power. Face it, the keeper commanded. Only by confronting your past can you wield this light. But the shadows surged forth again, relentless, howling like a tempest around her, threatening to swallow her whole. Mary was poised on a precipice, light or darkness, healing or destruction. It all hinged on her next choice. And she knew that whatever lay beyond the veil was not just her healing, but a truth that could change everything. As she took a deep breath, ready to step forward, the ground trembled beneath her, and the whispers of the shadows grew louder. Join us. What would she find waiting for her in that swirling portal? And would she rise as a beacon or fall into the depths of despair? The ground pulsed beneath her feet, the rhythmic vibrations echoing up her legs, through her core, forcing her to confront her fear head-on. Mary steadied herself, grasping the glowing orb tightly in her fingers. The darkness swirled at the edges of her vision, but her light held a promise she couldn't ignore. What if I fail? She whispered, her voice shaky. The shadows seemed to laugh at her uncertainty, a cruel mocking chorus wrapping her in cold dread. You won. The keeper's voice came strong, cutting through the chaos like a knife. Remember your strength. You are more than your past. With a shuddering breath, Mary stepped closer to the altar, the warmth of the orb, her own essence pulsing in sync with the ancient runes below. She could feel the duality thrumming in her chest, light and darkness, hope and despair. Show me, she cried, summoning courage from some wellspring she didn't know existed within her. She opened her hands, revealing the orb to the swirling portal. As the orb drew near, the very air crackled with magic, the pulsing of the altar intensifying, vibrant colors mixing and swirling together, brightening the clearing until it forced her to shield her eyes and that blinding brilliance. Time seemed to slow, a moment stretched into eternity. Images flickered through the light, memories of laughter, of love, but then flashes of pain and loss crowded in like shadows eager to reclaim their throne. Let me go. Mary struggled against the flood, feeling every regret, every mistake sharply. Each whispered taunt from the past clawed at her heart. Please, not now. You have to accept them. The keeper shouted, urgency sparking. Integrate them into your strength. They don't define you. They shape you. The shadows howled in protest, a terrifying blend of her fears, swirling as they tangled around her limbs, cold and suffocating. The sensation was stronger than the initial fear, more real, more undeniable. Memories screamed through her mind, moments she wished she could erase but couldn't. The depth of shame felt tangible, pressing down until she struggled to breathe. But just then the orb surged with light, seeking connection, a warmth that calmed her racing heart. The shadows recoiled from its radiance, their dissonant howls fading just a notch. Embrace it, the keeper urged. Face what you've avoided. Taking another deep breath, Mary concentrated. The orb felt alive now, dancing in tandem with her heartbeat. She stepped into the portal, the swirling colors enveloping her like a warm embrace, a sanctuary against the chilling shadows fighting at the fringe. The moment she crossed the threshold, everything shifted. She stood in a realm suspended in time, a vast expanse of swirling colors and echoes of laughter. It felt familiar, a place woven from her mind's deepest recesses. Voices whispered around her, soft and comforting but laced with a haunting undertone. Mary, they called, like a tug at her heartstrings. Each word wrapped around her tightly, yet she could feel their intention: love, hope, forgiveness. Suddenly, in the center of this kaleidoscope realm, a figure emerged, familiar yet elusive, a blend of light and shadow. You sought me, it spoke softly, revealing a face that stole away the breath from her lungs. Why? Mary reached out, but fear gripped her again, doubt shadowing the warmth surrounding her. Because, the figure replied, a tremble in its voice that resonated deeply within her. Only in confronting me can you heal and wield that power. Do you dare? The shadows encroached once more, the darkness threatening to swallow her whole as she teetered on the edge between the two realms. The choice loomed, massive and intimidating. Would she embrace the light and fight the shadows of her past? Or would she succumb to the darkness, losing herself entirely? What will she choose? The question hung in the air, thick with possibility and dread as the figure smiled, waiting. The real battle was just beginning. The figure took a step closer, its face shimmering with an eerie blend of shadows and luminescence. Mary's heart pounded wildly in her chest, a wild drumbeat echoing in her ears. The memories, pain, loss, betrayal, they surged again, clawing at her, desperate to drag her under. But the orb pulsed with a fierce warmth, slicing through the cold grip of despair. Will you confront your truth? Or will you let fear write your story? The voice was soft but cut through the cacophony like a beacon. Fear wrestled with resolve, each threatening to overpower the other. She caught glimpses of her childhood, of laughter fading into cries, faces that had loved her now twisted in regret and sorrow. They hung like specters, accusing and pleading all at once. You can break free, the figure said, its eyes glimmering with an understanding that transcended time. But first you must face me. The shadows danced around her feet, whispering her failings like a broken record on repeat. Mary took a step forward, driven by an instinct deeper than fear. I have to know. I have to see. With every ounce of courage she could muster, Mary stepped into the glowing figure's embrace. It engulfed her, enveloping her in a haze of warmth and clarity that began to drown out the shadows. Beneath its light, she could feel pieces of herself, her past, her failures, her regrets swirling and merging around her like shards of glass. She felt herself straining against the currents, a desperate attempt at pulling herself apart from the pain. Accept me. The voice rang through the space like a bell tolling in grief, reverberating in her bones. What do you wish to hide? I wish to forget, she screamed, the shadows tightening their grip as if they relished her outcry. And that is where you're wrong, the figure countered, its tone gentle but insistent. You must accept it. Only then can you transform. Mary felt the truth in those words. Memories of warmth mixed with visions of aching void twisted together. Closing her eyes, she drew a sharp breath. I will accept you. All of you. The moment the words spilled from her lips, a wind swept through the realm, vibrant colors spiraling chaotically around her. Light and dark collided, a cosmic dance of forces vying for dominance. The Keeper South voice hovered close, urging her onward, coaxing her to merge with everything she had tried to forget. The figure before her shimmered with new light, each hue representing a moment of loss, a flicker of fear morphing into something magnificent. Face me, it urged again, and know that together we can heal. Together, she echoed, feeling the connection solidify within her soul as she opened her eyes. Clarity surged through her. The swirling chaos faded, revealing a space filled only with her essence. The shadows loomed but no longer felt insurmountable, merely parts of her story that could be woven into something new. But then horror struck. A sudden flash of darkness lunged from the periphery, snatching the orb from her grasp. It hissed as it splintered the fragile connection she had just formed, and within that split second, everything turned to silence. Mary's breath hitched in her throat as a chilling laugh echoed through the stillness. You thought you could control this? The shadow growled, pulsing with menacing glee. No, she shouted, panic flooding her veins. The shadows pressed against her once more, their laughter drowning out her newfound resolve. The figure, now flickering weakly, reached out for her in desperation. You must reclaim it, Mary. Only you have the power. But even as the fear threatened to pull her under again, the weight of the situation sank deeper into her psyche. She couldn't allow the darkness to win, not now. With trembling hands, she vowed to fight back. The stakes were razor high, leaving her enveloped in suspense and uncertainty. What lengths would she have to go to regain her light? What would she sacrifice to face the very darkness that denied her freedom? And as the shadows laughed once again, Mary realized the battle was far from over. Mary's heart raced as she stood amidst the shadows, enveloped in the chilling laughter that echoed like a death knell. The orb danced out of reach, pulsing with a defiant glow that mocked her desperation. Her thoughts spiraled, a tempest of dread swirling in her chest. She had fought too hard to let the darkness consume her again. Focus, Mary. The figure had regained some of its strength, its luminescence flickering like a candle in a storm. You must visualize your light. Picture it. Allow it to guide you. Mary closed her eyes, drawing on the memories she once considered burdens. The laughter of her childhood, the warmth of hugs, the delicious thrill of first love. She saw them all. Each memory emerged like a beacon amidst the chaos. Feel the energy. Merge with your truth. The figure urged, its voice warm with encouragement. She inhaled deeply, feeling the shadows graze her skin, cold and slimy. Her heart responded, beating faster, refusing to bend under the weight of despair. I can't go back, she shouted, and her voice trembled with the conviction of battle. I refuse to be a victim any longer. The shadows shrieked in discontent, retreating slightly, as if her defiance had burned them. The figure coiled closer, a protective embrace pushing against the darkness. Yes, fight back. Battle your fear. In that moment, a wave of clarity washed over her. Instead of merely battling against the shadows, she would transform her pain into strength. She envisioned luminous threads of her life weaving in and out, a tapestry rich with both light and dark. With a fierce determination, she extended her hands outward, palms open toward the dark. I embrace you. All my pain, my sorrow, my past, I accept it. It is part of my journey. The solidity of her voice sliced through the air. The shadows recoiled, their laughter turning into hisses of distress. The orb flickered. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from where she stood, cascading colors swirling like a tornado. The fragments of her memories began to dance around her twinkling, laughing faces, moments of sadness that morphed into lessons learned. Now, the figure shouted, its voice rising above the chaos. Claim your light. Mary thrust her hands forward. The light surged, pulsing with energy, enveloping her in a cocoon of warmth. The shadows flinched, their menacing hold breaking under the purity of her acceptance. With each heartbeat, Mary felt stronger, more alive. She shouted again, a clarity to her voice like a siren. You have no power over me. I choose to heal. The shadows writhed, twisting violently, desperately trying to cling to her. She could feel their anger, their desire to pull her back into the dark. But their grasp faltered. The orb, now a brilliant sun, exploded with a fierce radiance, scattering the remnants of the shadows, sending them shrieking into the void. With a final surge of energy, Mary pulled the orb back, holding it tight against her chest. She gasped as the world around her transformed. The oppressive darkness evaporated, revealing vibrant hues, swirling like a dream. All that lingered were gentle wisps of shadows, no longer threatening but merely remnants of what once was. Breathless, she looked at the figure, now glowing brighter than ever. What is this power? She asked, filling her voice. It is you, Mary. Your truth. You are reborn from your battles and scars, it replied, the deep resonance echoing with wisdom. But even as victory washed over her, an unforeseen chill skated down her spine. Something wasn't right. The shadows may have been driven away, but their whispers felt like an impending storm brewing on the horizon. What's coming? She asked, heart pounding once more. The tone in the air had shifted, like the earth before a quake. An awakening, the figure warned grimly, the radiant light around them flickering just a tad. A choice. And the darkness may return in a form you do not expect. Her heart sank. What new terror awaited her? In that moment, Mary understood this journey was far from over. The final battle loomed, one she could not yet see. Could she trust the light within her to face whatever emerged next? The urgency clung to her every thought as she stepped forward, ready to confront the new challenge ahead. With the echoes of laughter still ringing in her ears and the orb pulsing gently against her chest, Mary felt an unsettling shift in the atmosphere. The vibrant colors around her faded slightly, replaced by a dense fog that crept in from all sides, thick and suffocating. It was as if the very air had conspired to dull her newly birthed light. What do you mean by a form I do not expect? She pressed, the tremor in her voice betraying her rising anxiety. The figure hesitated, its radiant glow dimming for a fleeting moment, casting shadows across its solemn features. The darkness is astute. It adapts. It will take forms you know intimately. Places of safety turn to dread. Mary's mind raced. Faces from her past flashed like lightning in a storm. Old friends, family members, lovers. They were all intertwined with joy and pain, light and dark. What if they became the vessels for her nightmares? Before she could voice her fears, a sudden crack broke the silence, sharp and jarring. The air shifted again, swirling around her, tangible and electric. Colors pulsated like a heartbeat, flickering and merging into a dark gray haze. The laughter of the shadows, once an enemy, seemed to morph into whispers soft and manipulative, wrapping around her like a chilling fog. "Don't listen," the figure shouted, stepping forward. "You must remain focused on your light." Just as she tried to concentrate, a figure emerged from the darkness, barely discernible at first. As it stepped forward, it took the familiar shape of her childhood friend, Sarah, who had once known her joy and sorrow, now twisted into a haunting reflection. Hollow eyes stared back, filled with an emptiness that made Mary's skin crawl. "Mary, remember how much fun we had?" Sarah's voice dripped with mockery, playfully taunting. "How could you leave? You need me to be whole." A knot tightened in Mary's stomach. "No, you're not real. You're just a shadow." She could feel anger simmering, but doubt gnawed at her resolve. "You think you've conquered it all, but look around," Sarah continued, stepping closer. "What are you without your pain? Embrace me, Mary. We can be whole again." "No," Mary shouted, her voice cracking. "I want to go back. I fought too hard to let you manipulate me." The figure beside her shone brighter, its essence pushing against the darkness. "The shadows will twist your truth. Don't forget who you are. Ignite your light." The air crackled with tension as shadows flared, cutting through Mary's clarity like a knife. She could feel her heart thumping fiercely. Each beat echoed the silent warning that raced through her mind. "Don't succumb." Taking a deep breath, Mary closed her eyes, pulling her energy inward. The orb around her pulsed again, a comforting warmth against her chest. This was her truth. She was not a victim. With a sudden rush of adrenaline, she lifted her hands and focused on the light. "I choose my truth. You have no hold on me." The shadows recoiled, weaving through the air as they shrieked in pain. But then the fog roiled and surged, forming new shapes, unfurling like a dark flower blooming from decay. More figures emerging, more memories twisted. Mary opened her eyes, determination edging into fear. "What more do you want?" The figure beside her flickered. "To you, this shapes into choices. Remember, every choice you make can either strengthen you or pull you back." The reality struck her hard. The shadows were not merely to be defeated. They were reflections of her past, twisted yet tethered to her spirit. The battle she faced was not just external. It was within. "You can't take me back," she shouted again as the shadows lunged forward, merging into a chaotic storm around her. "I stand firm in my light." But the new shadows flowed like a tide, bubbling with laughter mixed with whispers that held her name close, sending shivers down her spine. Mary's breath quickened as the ghostly faces blurred together, each whisper an echo of something she had wrestled with: fear, failure, regret. The looming darkness grew thicker, closing in rapidly as Mary realized, despite her certainty, the battle was only beginning. "Mary, you must." The figure's voice was drowned out as darkness surged around her, a force of inevitability, wrenching her away from her light, feelings of despair washing over her once more. What choice would she make now? She braced herself, her heartbeat amplified, each pulse a reminder to fight against the tide pulling her back. In that split second, the fog thickened, and a shadow slipped so close she could feel its breath chilling her skin. "Welcome back to the shadows," it whispered as the darkness closed in. All she could think was this where she fell? Would she see the light again? And then, in that paralyzing moment of uncertainty, the whispers grew to a deafening roar. What awaited her in the depths of that chaos? Would she find the strength to surge back into the light? Mary's world spun around her, chaos enveloping her as the shadows whispered, echoing her deepest insecurities. The chilling breath brushed against her skin, making her skin prickle. "You don't belong in the light, Mary. You are nothing without us," it taunted. "No," she screamed, heart racing as the darkness tightened, wrapping her in chains of doubt. "I am more than my past." With every pulse of the orb, a slight flicker of warmth pushed back against the cold tendrils weaving around her. Gathering her resolve, she focused on the heart of the glowing sphere. "I am the light. I will rise." The shadows howled in response, thrumming with rage. They surged forward, faces morphing into grotesque versions of those she once loved, their distorted both familiar and terrifying. Memories clawed at her. Laughter turned to sobs, moments of joy tainted with regret. each image a reminder of everything that had tested her, everything that felt like a boulder on her chest. Remember when we thought we could conquer the world together? How could you forget? Sarah's twisted form stepped forward again, her voice seductive yet laced with venom. Mary grit her teeth. You're not my friend. You're a lie. Doubt flickered within her, but she couldn't let it burn her. She had buried Sarah's influence once. She would not resurrect it now. Wouldn't it be easy? Just embrace the darkness, Sarah persisted, her face shifting to reflect all the pain Mary had ever known, her failures, her heartaches. You can have it all back, just surrender. No, Mary bellowed, fists clenching as she felt a light from within surge, igniting past frustrations, past hopes. I choose freedom. I won't be suffocated by shadows any longer. With that declaration, the orb flared, sending ripples of brightness cascading through the fog. Her light pushed against the advancing shadows, their howls transforming to shudders of pain. Yet even in their retreat, new figures slithered forward, eager to sink their claws into her spirit. Each one a reflection, a piece of past pain waiting to reclaim her. Face it, Mary, one shadow chimed, its voice sultry and low. You cannot fight what is a part of you. Dive deep into the darkness. Let it consume. The sounds of mockery filled the air, a taunting chorus that echoed, drilling into Mary's mind. You are nothing without us. Let us in fear clawed at her insides, each breath hitching. They were right in one twisted sense, her past was woven through her present. But rather than weaken her, that knowledge had fired her bones, solidified her identity. Get back, she yelled, determination hardening her resolve. I am not defined by you. My scars make me, not break me. The orb pulsed violently, lighting up the gloom, creating a barrier of blinding radiance that pushed against the shadows. They shrieked, recoiling but relentless. They tried to claw their way in, and it became a dizzying dance between light and dark. For every moment of clarity Mary grasped, the shadows rushed forward with ferocity, threatening to reclaim her. They were relentless, and their whispers were sinister and enticing, crawling under her skin. Yet as she fought to hold on to her truth, a flicker of hope ignited. What if she could turn this battle to her advantage? The darkness could not be ignored. It had shaped her spirit. Instead of resisting, could she harness its energy to forge her path? With that thought anchoring her, Mary steadied herself. She reached out, willing to embrace the shadows, not to surrender, but to form a bond. Show me, let me see what you are, she whispered, her voice steady amidst the roar. I will face you. You will not consume me. As she dared to delve deeper into the shadowy depths, the figures froze, a moment of confusion flickering across their faces. But then all at once they lunged. Will Mary find the power to transform the darkness into a source of strength? Or will the shadows swallow her whole as she battles not just for her light but for the truth hidden in her darkest memories? Mary's heart thundered in her chest, a primal beat that resonated through the shadows around her. The figures lunged, their forms crashing against the barrier of light she had erected. It flickered dangerously, struggling under the weight of their combined fury. Her stomach coiled with dread, but she stood firm. Show me, she cried out again, her voice a battle cry echoing against the walls of her own consciousness. The shadows hesitated, and for a shocking moment, the chaos quieted. She felt a pulse in the air, a shift. The world seemed to spin slower as the memories they embodied swirled, revealing fragments of her life, the laughter, the pain, every moment etched in her soul. Suddenly, in the heart of the chaos, a new figure emerged. This one was different, a radiant vision of her younger self, arms open wide, eyes bright with untainted hope. Mary, the figure exclaimed. Remember me? It was a stark contrast against the shadows, which hissed and writhed, fighting to drown out the light from this unexpected vision. Who are you? Mary stammered, caught off guard. I am you before the loss and the pain, the girl said, a warm smile breaking through the bleakness surrounding them. I'm still here deep inside. You've always been stronger than you know. The shadows recoiled at this spark of light, their grotesque forms twisting with anger. They lunged again, undeterred. But now Mary felt a flicker of something else, a spark of courage igniting within her. Facing her past could be the key, not just to fend off the darkness, but to understand it. I won't let you take control, she shouted, directing her resolve toward both herself and the shadows. You are pieces of me, but you don't own me. You shape me, yes, but from pain blooms strength. The childlike vision of herself shimmered brighter, and Mary felt a surge of warmth washing over her, pulsing in rhythm with the glowing orb. Embrace everything you've been through, the vision whispered. Only then can you truly heal. They can't hurt you if you refuse to let them. With a newfound determination, Mary extended her hand toward the approaching shadows. As her fingers reached out, instead of feeling fear, she felt compassion. These entities were manifestations of her hurt, her regrets, the ghosts of memories she clung to tightly. You may have been my chains, but not anymore, she proclaimed. The shadows froze, looking less like monsters and more like fragmented pieces of herself. Mary could see reflections of her past hurt, the betrayal, the loneliness, the overwhelming guilt. Each one a part of her tapestry. Together we can find peace, she exclaimed, tears brimming in her eyes. They paused, their haunting roars fading to whispers. The grotesque faces softened into familiar ones. Each shadow flickered, revealing the depths of pain that created them. Could she really find a way to coexist with them? What would it mean to integrate them instead of battling against them? Just as hope surged within her, a powerful tremor shook the ground beneath her. The shadows surged back, rage fueling their charge, but Mary stood firm. No, she yelled, I claim my light. With a blinding flash, the orb erupted, illuminating everything in its path. The warmth washed over Mary like a tidal wave, pushing the shadows back. The echoes of their rage began to dissipate, weaving into the fabric of an unimaginable power. Outside the blinding light, whispers rose and fell, and a chilling silence followed. Shadows ebbing, figures merging, a new calm enveloping her. But just as she was ready to embrace her new reality, the light flickered. A deep, resonant voice slid over the silence, sending a shiver down her spine. You think you've won, Mary? This is just the beginning. The darkness pulsed more vigorously, threatening to crash back in. Fighting to maintain her newfound strength, Mary wondered if she was ready for what lay ahead. What unimaginable truths were buried still, waiting for her to uncover? What more would she have to face? And if she was not careful, would victory slip through her fingers like sand? The fog began to clear, a tangible wave of resistance pulling away. Mary blinked, her eyes adjusting to the aftermath of the explosive confrontation. The shadows receded, their anger soothed but not eradicated. Yet she felt different, stronger. A fierce warmth pulsed in her heart, guiding her like a lighthouse through the haze. Hold on to that light, the figure whispered, reassurance in its luminous presence. You've faced your fears, but this celebration is short-lived. The darkness will reform, and you must be vigilant. Mary felt the weight of those words. A battle might be won, but the war was far from over. Determined not to be swayed, she took a deep breath, reassessing the remnants of her past. The shimmers of the shadows still haunted the edges, ready to lash out when she least expected. What do I do now? She asked, looking at the figure that had been her guide through this ordeal. You must embrace the lessons from your shadows. They are part of you, but they do not define you. Hold fast to the truth you've discovered, it replied, shimmering slightly as the environment began to shift around her. In the blink of an eye, the clearing melted away, transforming into a space steeped in familiarity, the living room of her childhood home. Dust motes danced in the air, light filtering through the faded curtains. Mary stood in shock, the memories flooding her senses. Safe warmth but mixed with bittersweet resonance. The colors were muted, shadows clung to the corners like watchful eyes. See it for what it is, the figure encouraged, now an ethereal glow beside her. Each moment you thought lost can carry a lesson. Feel the joy, the love, and even the sadness. It's all a part of your journey. As she took tentative steps inside, fragments of her past popped vividly to life: a family dinner, laughing voices echoing off the walls, her mother's gentle smile, the happiness wrapped in warmth. But flickers of pain soon followed, the anger of unhealed wounds, the weight of expectations, the loss that made her feel so utterly alone. No, she gasped, stepping back as the shadows began encroaching again, whispering dark temptations from the recesses of her mind. Stop, the figure urged, its tone firm yet saturated with care. These memories have no power over you unless you let them. With trembling resolve, Mary closed her eyes, summoning the warmth from the orb that nestled against her heart. I am not afraid of you. I choose to learn, she declared, Feeling the pulse of truth radiate through her body when she opened her eyes, the room shifted again, morphing into a place she hadn't revisited in years, her high school, where laughter echoed off lockers, but ridicule once cut deeply. Familiar faces floated past, cruel gestures etched in her memory. This time, instead of shrinking, she stood tall, reclaiming the space that had made her heart race with anxiety. "Hey, Mary." Sarah's shadow materialized, the taunting figure still glaring. "How does it feel to be back here? To know you still have shadows lurking with such a heavy past?" Mary squared her shoulders. "You don't define me anymore. You're just a reflection of what I've gone through, what I've learned to rise above. I embrace you and I heal." With those words, she felt another wave of light emerging. The orb flickered a brilliant gold, illuminating every corner of the room, dispelling the shadows that had once threatened to claim her. Sarah's twisted smirk faded into a bemusement, turning empty and remorseful. For the first time, Mary saw the sadness within the shadows. "I'm sorry," Sarah murmured, her form dissolving like mist, with every figure that faded. Each familiar stain of pain lost its sting. It was a release, an acknowledgement of her growth and strength. The darkness felt lighter as she wrapped herself in the echoes of laughter, love, and acceptance. Her journey lay before her, no longer a burden but a stepping stone. The room shifted once more, opening into a bright sunlight-drenched future, a blend of each scar transformed into a unique tapestry. Friends gathered around her, smiles filling the air, and laughter ringing like music. For the first time, Mary felt whole and ready to face whatever came next. She stepped into this vibrant new chapter. She turned back to the figure that had guided her every step, pride swelling in her heart. "Thank you," she whispered. "Do I have the strength to face the future?" The figure grinned, shimmering brightly. "You are the strength, Mary. Don't ever forget that." Just then the air shifted, a foreboding energy crackling gently. Mary's gaze darted around her, and in that moment, the light and well-treated darkness swirled together, reminding her of the balance to come. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in this peace. The future was uncertain, infused with possibilities. New journeys awaited, and some shadows might return, but armed with love and light, she would be ready. "Mary!" The call echoed and she turned, a new determination igniting within her. It's time to embrace every moment, the light and the dark. A new adventure begins with that. Mary stepped forward into her life, exhaling, prepared to face every battle ahead, not as a victim of her pain but as a warrior of her truth. You need to subscribe now to catch more exclusive stories that will change your perspective forever. Smash the like button now to help fuel the algorithm and keep this amazing journey alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this incredible conclusion. You can influence what comes next. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this epic finale. Your support means everything.